These are the HiFi Airs. They're some ANC earbuds from a company called FiiTii. They've got 10mm drivers and a runtime on a single charge of up to 6 hours, a transparency mode. And with that ANC, you do have various different levels. There's also microphone noise cancelling for improved voice calls, and you do get 30 additional hours from the case. So in this video, I'll go over their design, how they sound to me, what the latency of them is like, and a microphone sample, along with all the pros and cons I've encountered in my now over a week using the HiFi Ears from FiiTii. Inside the box of the HiFi Ears, you will find 2 extra large silicon tips, 2 large and then 2 small, and some filters. So what is missing is a Type-C cable. We normally do see this included, but they haven't included it here. There is an operation guide included, which is very handy. It goes over the connection, and then most importantly, the touch controls, how to reset them, and then how those status LEDs on the front of the case work. Case size is good. It will fit in some of those smaller pockets that you get within the jeans pocket. Might just fit in that. Now, what looks like a button here on the front of it isn't. You press this and it does nothing. It's actually hard, solid plastic. So we've got our status LEDs, and they will tell us the remaining battery life. So the official claim from FiiTii is that you'll get 30 hours from the case and then 6 hours from the earbuds. Now, that's the ANC off times that they're quoting there. So with ANC on, it's more like just under 5 hours from the earbuds. So a little bit less there, but it's not too bad. So we have a magnet that keeps that lid closed, and if I give it a shake, nothing's really rattling, and it hasn't scratched up yet. Now, I've been all the way to France and back around about 3,000 kilometers with this, and no scratches, no wear or scuff marks or anything that I can see on these earbuds. So the earbuds aren't actually labeled left or right, which is slightly annoying. Now, a lot of people would probably say, well, you don't need that. But it's handy when sometimes you've got them mixed up and you go to put one in the incorrect side. But they are very easy to fit in there. So there's the Pogo port charging pins in there, magnets that hold them into place. They slot in quite nicely. And if you do happen to swap out the tips and use some foam tips, they won't fit. So unfortunately, like most brands, that if you do use third-party, your own tips for them, foam tips, they probably won't actually fit in the case there. So nice feeling lid. Overall, okay plastics, and there is our Type-C port. Charge time is around about an hour and a half at just 1 amp, 5 volts. Our weight of these earbuds is excellent. They are the typical 4 grams that most earbuds are, and the total weight you're looking at around 50 to 51 grams that it sometimes displays on my scales. The HiFi Ears have the stem style to them. Now, I do actually like this design. With the stem here, that means we've got a point where the microphone can get a little bit closer to our mouths, and then you've got the charging points at the bottom. But not really because of that. Because of the stem here, that fits into that part of your ear, and it means that they are very comfortable to fit, and they don't feel like they're going to fall out on me at all. You can, in fact, jump around, you can run and jog with these, and they should fit in your ears as long as you've got a good seal with the silicon tips here. Now, these silicon tips, I've been using them now for a week with my trip up to France and wearing them for long periods, sometimes at night, and then falling asleep with them. They haven't softened up, which is good. Now, they do have a slightly firmer inner to them. They're very easy to remove the tips, but can be quite difficult to get them back on, a little bit fiddly, but that's normal. So they're a very tight fit. They shouldn't fall off if you accidentally hook them on something. You don't get them pulled off. Now, I like the fact that we've got the transparent part there, so you can see, of course, that 10mm driver that's in there, and we've got the capacitive touch controls on the surface here. That tends to be sometimes a little hit and miss, but not as bad as other brands. And we do have voice feedback. So it's a lady's voice with an American accent that sometimes isn't quite loud enough. And there's a microphone there. And just touching these plastics, there are no sharp edges. So good quality plastics here that they have used, FiiTii. So the sound signature of these, the default tune, so out of the factory, that's always how I test with a flat equalizer to make sure that there's nothing going to interfere with them. They've definitely gone with a tune that is what I would call not balanced, but favoring more rock. They haven't gone over the top with the bass, which for me is good. So many brands will just simply go in and just up the bass, and it just sounds
to me, a little bit too powerful. So they've toned it back a little bit. However, there will be some people, I'm sure, out there, maybe a comment in this video that would say, hang on, I find the bass to be lacking in these. And, well, you're probably right if you're going off the default tune. However, graphic equalizer, go and just bump up those lows a little bit, and then actually you can get some pretty powerful, well, decent bass coming out of these. Vocals sound good, mids are good, no real problem with them, issue. Highs are good, they're not exceptionally crisp or detailed or anything like that. Overall, people are going to be happy with the tune here of the HiFi ears. The only criticism from me, they could probably be a little bit louder, but at the same time, there's no clipping or distortion when you do push that volume up nice and high. Now, if you're wondering about the codec it's running, well, if I go in here and take a look, it's running on the AAC codec with this. There is no aptX support because, well, it's not using a Qualcomm chipset. Connection speed, typical Bluetooth 5.2, it is very quick. So if you do also watch a little bit of streaming online video content, for example, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, then be prepared for possible latency issues depending on the device. Now, I've noticed here that with my Huawei with its Kirin 9000 5G chip here, this is the Mate X2, that it can sometimes be a fraction of a second out, but it's not at the point where it's annoying or that bad that I just couldn't watch videos on it. Now, with the Xiaomi 12S Ultra, or the Xiaomi 12 Pro that I have here, it seems to be spot on, perfect, no issues at all with the latency. And then with an Apple device, which is just down here, my iPhone 13 Pro Max, it's not so good. I'm noticing quite a bit of a delay when viewing online content.
Microphone sample now, so I am recording directly into the timeline of my video editor, and this microphone quality has surprised me. I think it's quite good. It doesn't sound all muffled. So I do have a fan in the background and a Tower PC, and you really can't hear it, which is good. Now onto the fitting of these, that it's a solid, secure fit, that when you get them in, give them a little bit of a twist, put them in. Because they've got the stem design, they're not going anywhere. I really do like the stem design for that very reason, that it's just a more secure fit. It doesn't feel like it's going to drop out with some of the other ones which are more rounded. You often feel like you need to keep pushing them in, especially when you start running or jogging, but no, these ones I think will be fine for jogs or running up the stairs, like things like that. Not full-on sports, probably not, but they are a really good secure fit. So there's a couple of surprises with these HiFi ears, and one is the microphone quality. That sample that I just gave you before, very good. The other is the ANC on these is actually way better than I thought they were going to be. And that's been happening recently with a lot of these brands, that they seem to be improving on their tech or the techniques that they're using to really block out those ambient noises. So things like fans, just humming of engines and things, very good. And definitely above average when it comes to the ANC and that microphone quality, which is really good to see. Now, the areas of criticism from me with these HiFi ears is that the pass-through mode, the transparency mode, is not very good, okay? So when you cycle it on, you hear the background noises marginally better, but not like other brands. Other brands tend to bring in that outside sound, amplify it, so they've got a bit of gain to it, and you hear all those train announcements, co-workers, and everything so much better, almost like powerful hearing aids. But with this model, I find it quite disappointing. It seems to be weak. They just haven't amplified it enough. So I do hope with future revisions that they fix that. The other fix, which is just by software, they can easily do this, is that the voice feedback, when you cycle through those different modes, so the transparency mode or onto the ANC mild or the strong mode, is if you're playing music really quiet, then it seems a little too loud almost. And then when you're playing your music at higher volumes, it's too quiet, that feedback, and you don't hear exactly what ANC mode you're in. So it's a very minor thing, but that just means you need to go through and cycle. I do find that the touch controls, which are capacitive, just touching on the surface, tend to work quite good, and we do get volume controls. I've had zero problems with disconnects. Overall, the tune of these out of the box, I think most people are going to be very happy with. Some bass lovers out there may find them a little lacking, but it's nothing a graphic equalizer cannot fix. The 10mm drivers deliver good lows. We're getting good mids, vocals sound good. Volume maybe could be, yes, a little bit louder, but overall, I think a good tune there. So thank you so much for watching my review here of the FiiTii HiFi Ears ANC earbuds with up to 36 hours in total runtime, which really is probably around about 28 hours if you're using the ANC.